I am in such a good place right now. That is... Wow.
Peace and joy, my brothers. Peace and joy. Good evening.
Oh, good evening. Good day. Good year. Good
So far,
everything. Yes. Good world. Good people.
Good karma.
Good karma. Yes, absolutely.
And we just had a good meal. So everything's good.
God, I'm so happy that we get to do this just again and again and again, and it's just like, let it never end. You know, this right here, a friend once said, we are circling together. We are singing the love song. This is unity, this is celebration, this is happiness, this is love.
Yeah, beautiful.
And Yichel, Zata. It's an American buddy of mine in Israel that I met. He's lived there now most of his life, but he took me to this one hippie festival, which is something that I actually started talking to Sagy about earlier today. There's the Rainbow Tribe Festival, which I'm sure a lot of our listeners are familiar with. Those of you listening, thank you. The Rainbow Tribe Festival, I got denied a visa to come to the United States back in Israel in 2001. This happened immediately after 9/11. And then my friend Yechiel came to me and said, you know what? Screw all that jazz. Why don't you come with me? And I did. And he played that beautiful record from Porcupine Tree, Stupid Dream. You remember we were playing that earlier today, you and I, in the car?
Yeah.
That's why that album stuck with me so much. We got to this festival at night. All you see is bonfires across a hilly area, like an area with lots of hills. And basically, I remember walking in there with him, and you see all these people circling fire pits, bonfires that they just started.
Very
A
tribal.
bunch of people, very tribal, people dancing naked in a circle, holding hands. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Talk about a connection. Jesus.
Yes.
I am me, you are you, and we're all connected. It's like, I've never experienced anything like this. And basically they took me to our bonfire where we were sitting with, I think, 8 or 9 other people. And we were passing a chillum around, which is basically a smoking device. And you typically smoke weed out of it, but we also added some cow dung.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Cow dung.
And apparently it's supposed to actually intensify the hash.
Sure it does. Yeah.
There was hash in the pipe as well.
Whoever came up with that.
I'll tell you who it was. It was a guy, I think it's some kind of a religious level of consciousness or something like that. It's called a Baba.
Baba.
Yeah, he was a Baba from
it's
India.
Like it's like a shaman in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's like a wise.
he's traveling with this festival, with the Rainbow Tribe Festival. Him and another British gentleman by the name of, I think his name was Jerry, if I'm not mistaken. Charlie. His name was Charlie. And Charlie, how can I describe that man? He was very much like Gandalf the Grey.
Wow.
A wise man, literally a wise man, just sitting there with us and just talking to us about all kinds of important things that he's one of those people that I think all of us together would have a pleasure talking to that man. And we just kept passing that chillum around. Everyone had a musical instrument, and some had guitar, some had a flute, some had a drum, and he was just saying these words like weird, like if he was playing the drum, give me a little bit of a beat. Bum, 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 bum,
Like
bum,
that,
bum.
like that.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, just like that. Boom, 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 boom. We are the holy band in the holy land. We are the holy band in the holy land. And he was just doing that, and then keep doing that, keep doing that. Yeah. And then he goes, and everyone repeats after him. Bum, bum,
Bum, bum, bum,
bum, bum,
bum, bum, bum, bum.
baga, baga, bum.
Baga, ba, ba.
Everyone was laughing their asses off.
Yeah.
It was one hell of a night, and I felt, now this is the funny part of the story, this is the best part of the story. I get out, I was like, okay, it's like we had all this fun and sharing wisdom with each other and enlightenment and whatnot. And then I was like, you know what? I'm thirsty. I have to get up and go get some water. And it's pitch black. And I told my friend Yechiel, and I said, hey, Yechiel, can you get up and like help me find some water? Because there's a lot of bags and stuff by the tent. He says, don't worry, you'll find it. And then I just get up. All of a sudden, this warm wind, as I get up, I'm on my feet already, but my body starts to rise up. And I feel this wind full of musical notes from the fire pit, from where everybody was. I feel all these notes with a warm wind just going right through me.
Wow.
It was the first time I've ever felt anything.
What was in this thing, Chum? Where would you pass?
Chilum?
Chillum? Yeah, what
Who
was
knows
in that
what the
chillum?
fuck was in it? To be honest, I think it's
Countdown.
just my imagination. My imagination. I was so high, and my imagination
Yes.
was so high
Yes,
that
true.
it actually took me through this virtual / spiritual experience to where I imagined that I was actually feeling that.
Okay.
I was just riding the wind at that moment too. So then what I did is I got up, I went over to the tent, and I was like, fuck this, I'm thirsty. I got up, went, started looking through all the bags, pitch black, in the middle of nowhere, dark. And I feel all of a sudden, I feel a bottle that has like it's riveted, you know, like it's Michel Shaw. Like you could feel the
rivets
edges,
in
the rivets of it. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, mineral water, right?
That's what you think.
That's what I think.
It was a pineapple.
I took off the cap from the bottle, not realizing that the cap came off way too easily.
Yes, and it was pitch black.
And it was pitch black. I grabbed the bottle and I go, and then in my mind all of a sudden, wow, this water is so smooth. It's so smooth. And then I look at what I was drinking, canola oil. I went straight back to the first of all, before going back to the fire pit.
You drink oil and you go back to the fire.
Well, not on the fire.
Okay.
But basically, I drink that, and I was like, I was trying not to puke. I was holding it in. I was holding it in. And I was like, this is so nasty. And I went back to the fire pit to where my friend Yechiel was sitting, and I said, Yechiel, okay, you. Now, what? Shit does not go down well. Well, actually, it did go down well, but not in that sense.
Yeah.
It lubricated itself down.
So this
It's
was
awesome.
your
Lubrication station.
This
Yeah,
was your
lubrication
first rock
station.
festival or music festival.
No, it was my first hippie festival.
Okay, hippies.
To where
hippies.
I was literally, yeah.
Yeah, I was just
Disconnected, no phones, no radio, no nothing technologically. People park outside, far away, and they walk a very long walk to get to where they're supposed to go.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the coming together of people. You know, there are lots of ways of getting people to come together. But if you have music and you have, you know, something to induce euphoria, people will come together. I mean, it's just one of those things. They just, you know, it's one of the ingredients of gathering people, you know, to offer things like that. And in doing so, then once they're there, you can share with them whatever you have to share. You know, in the case of the guru guy or something, you know, this was his platform. He's got a captive audience.
Yeah.
You know, he
Yes, both him and Charlie also.
yeah, he could speak.
Wise
He could
man.
speak, and in a situation like that, you know, it's good to be speaking about peaceful human things, you know, as opposed to like the people that riot at the Capitol or something, you know, that kind of getting people together. You don't want that kind of attitude when,
Well, yeah,
when
you want
people
to be
come together, you know, it shouldn't
Zen.
Yes, you shouldn't ever.
Well,
People coming together should
the
never
key
be
is
like
that people coming together and they are all with intention towards a certain thing, they create a lot of energy.
Yes, they do.
They create 10 times fold of each individual combined. So where do you direct that? Do you direct it towards peace and harmony and heart-to-heart conversation and love? Or do you direct it towards anger, frustration? You know?
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
We have here today the lovely Jessie again.
Lovely Jessie
forgot
again.
to
You know what?
mention
I
that.
think at this point,
Yeah.
anyone who's been listening to a previous podcast already figured that out. Because Jesse made a historic podcast with us last time. And
I am pretty historic. Yes, he's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always told Jesse that I see his face on a coin. And the reason why, and here's how and why. Here's why and how. First of all, it's Jesse. Enough said.
Enough said.
But the second, he has this hat. He has a French hat. I think that's what
Beret. It's a beret, right?
You mean like this?
Beret? Beret is or beret?
Beret.
Yeah. So it's literally like this.
Oh yeah, this is with Napoleon.
Yeah, like
It's
Napoleon
one of
used to
Napoleon
wear.
hats. One of those. Yeah.
And it's a beautiful hat.
Yes, it is
And
a beautiful hat.
he has that hat, and at some point I saw him looking sideways, just like this. Just imagine looking at Jesse sideways with that hat, with the glasses, everything, just like.
Yeah, I do look rather regal. When it's late.
And I said, Jesse, that needs to go on a coin, unlike currency.
Yeah.
That was a gift from a lady friend of mine. In fact, she actually called me the other day. She's been sickly or whatever. She hadn't been doing well. She's about 76 years old, and we used to party back in the day. And she, whenever I talk to her, she always talk about the good old days. Now, the thing is, I flash back. I don't go back and live there. Oh, it was such a great time, and I wish I could stay here. I mean, when I visit my memories, it's a quick glance, and then I'm done. I don't need to live back there or spend time back there, because I've done that already. That's a memory. I live today, so let's not spend a lot of time wallowing there. Let's take a glimpse of what you did and then keep going.
It's so beautiful. It's really a beautiful way to simplify this thing, because I do that too. I look into the past.
Yeah.
And I do it a lot, especially recently. Things come up, you look at the past, and that's the thing. If we can all just have that glimpse and then learn to turn again away and look forward, instead of looking back there and back there and back there until our fucking neck is,
Yes.
But it's
I think the key is also to learn yourself from it. In other words, you have experienced what you have experienced in the past, and then you take that with you to the future as knowledge. You properly use it, and then you can enjoy your present and future self. Yeah. And the best way I can put that, describe what I'm trying to say even more about this particular subject, is that, like me, for example, I have my solo project. What I'm trying to do right now is what I could not fully be myself back then. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to accomplish something that I've never accomplished, to bring something to light that had a certain potential. So you can always bring your potential of who you want it to be back then into the future. Like, that's never too late.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
No.
Utilize the past. You don't have to dwell in it.
Yes.
Dwelling is bad.
Dwelling is bad.
I mean, dwelling is bad, and it's addictive, and it's intoxicating, and at the same.
I think it's what they call depression.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is that's how it
I look at that
shows
a lot
itself
like this.
as depression sometimes. Yeah.
Depression is a place where you go where it's hard to get out of.
Yeah.
That's depression, wherever that is for you. But usually when you go there, it's really hard to get out of there on your own.
Yeah.
You need some kind of spiritual foundation, or, I try to avoid medications, taking medicine to lift you up to that. I would hope that you would have enough inside you to gather yourself and pull yourself out of whatever hole you're in, Yeah. But today they want to offer you medications to do that for you.
Yeah.
Which to me it's kind of like when I was a child, I had a habit of, we had a pot-bellied stove. And I had a habit of playing in the ashes from the fire. And so my mother would constantly tell me, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Of course, kids, we do it anyway. And So one day she took my hand and she stuck it to the stove. Now today that would be called abuse.
By today's standards.
And my mother would probably be in prison, yeah. But, but from that one experience,
Yeah.
I knew what fire was. I knew what hot was.
Yeah.
There was never any doubt in my mind. I was true to the experience of it. Fire will always be hot. I know this now, and I'm not going to expect it to be any other way than the way it is. Okay? So you have to be true to your experience of that which you have experienced. You can't deny that because it happened to you.
You cannot deny that. No.
You cannot deny that. You
No.
know, it happened to you.
Yeah.
Don't
Deny it.
don't deny it.
If
You-
something is dangerous, you need to be aware of it.
You need to be aware of it. Not saying, oh, well, so-and-so did it, so I should be able to do it. Nah. No, it don't always work
If
like
somebody told you to jump out of a building, would you do it?
that. No.
Same idea, yeah.
Oh, we were speaking about Lucy earlier, or the movie Lucy, and she did
Great
manage to accomplish to go beyond all of those limitations of the mind. And this is interesting because whatever we have from an experience, the mind stores.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's what we go to. We go to a memory in the mind that tells us this
Yes.
memory is connected to hurt, is connected to don't repeat, for example. There are more
Yeah,
things in it, right?
Don't repeat it.
And if we want to become, if we want to be, when we want to higher, elevate our consciousness and expand, we understand that there's a way to connect back with nature and with the elements, to master the elements in a way that fire is not going to be experienced
That way,
as
hot again.
as hard again.
That's right.
But the key is, the key is to move into this space of consciousness
Uh-huh.
through an acceptance. So you said it beautifully. Don't deny the experience. Accept the experience as such that brought you a learning, a knowingness, and through that, master and harness the power of the memory of the past
That's right.
and move forward with it and become grander.
Yes. I never, in doing this, I never was, the fear of fire never even occurred to me. I never had a fear of fire at all. I just knew its potential. I knew its possibilities. And that, that made me solid. I was locked in. You know what I'm saying?
No, I ain't touching fire.
Now,
Never again.
Now again, I love fire. I love being around the fire. I love cooking with the fire. I mean, I love all these things about the fire. You know what I'm saying? So it never deterred me.
Yeah.
It's something that we all, not only is it in our presence at all times, but we can use it, harness, and benefit from it. So I have no problems with it. It's just I learned its power
Yes.
very young.
And that's how you master it or you become the alchemist, is not through manipulation of that power. It's through harnessing that power, harnessing with a lot of honor. Like I learned to have so much respect for nature and for the four elements, which gives us life. There is no life without the breath of an air. There is no life without water. There is no life without the heat of the sun. There is no life without the solidity of this earth. When we respect that and we understand the simplicity of it, this is the way to connect and to become one. Imagine becoming one with water, with fire, and being able to move into that element.
Now, the technical age in which we exist, which, like you said earlier,
Technological.
one mind is going in that direction, the other mind is going in the earth's direction. In order for everyone to be reconnected with that earth, would you remove all of that technology and stuff in order for them to get back to that?
Yeah.
or I'm just trying to see how we can harmonize the two
Yeah, that's
between technology and earth, you know, to even though, you know, we're evolving into this technological thing, and at the same time the earth still exists. What if there's a way where you can interconnect those two or marry those two
beautiful
to where they can be in harmony instead of fighting against each other
Yeah, exactly.
all the time?
So we are that middle point. I see each person as a center of the universe, and this is very also a Buddhistic idea, find the middle way.
Mm-hmm.
Balance those two oppositions within yourself. You know, the power of the mind, the technology, and the very simplicity of nature, of earth. Bring that balance in yourself and harmonize it in yourself. And I believe we are moving, you know, we spoke about in one of our shows about vibration, sound vibration. Sound is a vibration. And everything can be read also as a vibration. What we speak, the truth that we are speaking, the truth that we are acting, vibrates in a certain way. And when this is a frequency. Now imagine we can harmonize, we can adapt or equalize those frequencies with the one that technology is offering, because technology is also offering us just a frequency.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah, to be connected, each one. You know, the technical side and the human side. Wow. That is something to really consider.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What are you saying, my man? You sit there.
No, I'm just listening. I'm just marveling at, you know, like picturing everything that you are talking about, that you guys are talking about, and how just everything unfolds, everything that you were talking about. And it just fascinates me. It really does. Because, I mean, just such complexities of the universe. It's both simplistic and complex at the same time. It's hard to describe.
Yes, it's like
It's simple in its complexity.
It's like everything, nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got it all at the same time. You got a damn thing.
This is so true. This is so true.
No, this is not COVID talking here. Just to clear that up.
I imagine one of our listeners or more would be really concerned right now and even press the stop button.
Yeah.
It's
It's
COVID. I don't want to hear that.
I don't want to hear that. I'll get
Social distancing.
Yes, even through
Step away from the speakers.
Step away from the speakers.
Put your lipstick away.
Yeah, pick that shit up. Yeah, we got you.
That was just funny. He was walking his 2 dogs back in the day.
Oh yeah, my 2 dogs.
Yeah.
I called them 2 dogs.
And it's a male. Now, when a male does his business, like to poop or something, in the dog park, or anywhere, when they poop, their
They like to sit down.
their genitalia.
They like to lick their genitalia right after the job's done, pretty much. You know.
Well, there's that, but also after they. So when they go number 2, their lipstick comes out.
Yes, their
Lipstick comes out.
Yeah, you know, you take out a lipstick, you squeeze, and it goes. Breep.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't want to think about it.
Yes,
Okay.
But
yeah.
now I have to. Now you put that image in my
Put
brain.
that image in me.
Welcome.
So I usually tell my dog to put your lipstick away and pick
clean
that shit up.
And clean your shit up. Now you have that image in your head even as well.
No. You know, we have to take on all kinds of responsibilities. You know, dogs are no exception. You know, they're like children, kind of. They're all in the families now. They're socially accepted. They can have health insurance and burial plans and all of this now. So they're pretty much equal. in the sense of technically they're equal. You know, you can't do any cruel things to dogs or anything
That's
or
awesome.
any animals.
Well, that's really something that we can be proud of as humanity
Yeah,
to
yeah.
reach that point.
And you know, I was looking at the whales the other day. How the whales were, you know, down. The numbers were so small because of the whaling back in the day, and now it's not. It's illegal now to hunt whales, and so they're starting to, you know, the numbers are starting to increase and stuff like that. That's a whale's life is kind of weird. I mean, I mean, I didn't think anything could ever hurt a whale. You know,
The human is.
humans.
Yeah,
First of
humans.
all, the humans, and then secondly is killer whales.
Killaways, yeah.
Now, killer whales, they wreak havoc on big size whales. They're like a wolf pack.
Oh, wow.
You know, and that's how they travel in the water. You know, and they see whales with their babies. Usually, the whales will ride the coastlines on the west coast, you know, to go up Alaska or something like that. They have the babies in the south and they go back up north. And the killer whales wait on them. They wait on them, boy, and you know they
pounce.
pounce, and it's no. Killer whales even attack great white sharks.
Killer whale attack great white sharks.
Yes.
Wow.
And you know, great white shark's supposed to be the baddest, one of the baddest sea creatures there is.
Yeah.
And they don't mess with killer whales, and they don't mess with porpoises or dolphins, because dolphins travel in packs too,
Dolphins can kick some serious ass.
especially on sharks.
Well, that's the thing. As dolphins, they don't really do it. They just everybody like respects the dolphins.
Yeah.
They just eat, you know, fish. That's it.
It almost seems like the dolphins are pretty much like the up in the food chain creatures of the ocean.
Now, when they were speaking about that mind thing with Lucy and thing, they showed the dolphins.
Right.
The dolphins are smarter than we are. I mean, because they have sonar, they could sense things away, and
Yeah.
you know they have senses. They have those senses.
They have some powerful instruments.
You know what I'm saying? So
they're born with.
There's a thing about about water, that water, they contain memory. This is why we say like blood is memory. It's the water. The water.
It's a substance. It's made of something.
The
Well-
water really has the memory of Earth, of
yeah.
what has been going on here. That's why they are governed by the moon. So when you are a creature, like the masters of the sea, and you travel through water, and your water is your energy, you know, you have access to all those memories that water contains. And humans, by the way, we start our journey on Earth
That's
through
in
water.
water. I've
9
heard
months
that.
in the belly, we are we live in water, we
Yeah.
breathe water,
Right.
you know, and then the day of birth is when our reality is really completely changing from being in water,
to the
not
geo.
no sunlight,
Yeah.
just a bunch of
Yeah.
muffled noises, no fresh air, it's all through water, you know.
Amphibians.
Suddenly we are in that light and that noise, and the noise is traveling differently, and we breathe the air. This is like, this is really like the birth moment, and I've experienced this with my child. I had the most amazing experience so far in my life, and I had really many amazing experiences in my life, but this is number one. It's delivering my own child.
Watching that happen.
Wow.
What it was only me and my wife.
Oh, that was
It was
it.
only the two of us
Wow.
on a mountaintop in Spain in a yurt.
Whoa.
Yeah, and
Wow.
the baby literally came out to my hands. He fell from the womb to my hands.
Papa was holding him.
Yeah, yeah, it was the
Well,
first
you
thing. that he
delivered
did.
your own child.
Yeah.
That
Me
is
and my wife.
amazing.
Yeah, this is yeah, and it gave me a lot of wisdom about
Oh.
that moment of birth. You know,
Yes.
that is really a complete
Yeah.
shock. That's why we come here and we cry. It's like, what is going on? You know?
Now, back in the day,
An
back in
explosion
the
of the
day,
senses.
Yeah.
back in the 80s, 70s, I think is happening, where women were actually having their child in water.
Yes.
you know, and the child comes out in water, swimming, just right at home in the water and everything, like, born into the water kind of thing, instead of having that initial shock of from darkness, and then here's all this hospital light and machines going on all around
Oh
you,
my God.
motherfuckers smacking you on the ass. I mean,
Jesse, we have missed you so much, brother.
no,
We have missed you so
Look,
much.
coming into the world is not easy.
Yeah, it's a tough experience.
It's a very tough.
You go from a very dormant, very sleepy type of situation, where you're surrounded with warmth and liquids and this
That's
and
right.
that. You're born into that. That's the first thing that your body experiences is when the seed hits the egg and then an embryo starts to develop, like all of a sudden there is a very slight consciousness before it comes out of the body. So, it's just an explosion
Well,
to the senses.
like
Like,
explosion.
An explosion, like imagine all of a sudden, okay, you're used to one thing.
Yeah.
Imagine you're used to this
Sucking my
life.
thumb in warm water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Now you're used to your life. Imagine all of a sudden you're on a different planet with a different climate, with a different this, different light, different sounds. Everything is like
Yes.
not familiar to you at all. And it's an explosion of senses. All of a sudden that happens to you, and it's just amazing. Like they say, imagine what the mother is going through. Imagine what the baby is going through.
So birth is a true test of your senses. I mean, you get a chance.
First time they get revealed.
You get a chance to test them out on that day. That's when they show up, to whether they're working or they're not. I mean, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
To all of a sudden burst out into.
It's one hell of a graduation party.
Well, I'm glad
for your senses.
I'm glad it happened to me. Now,
Well, so are we.
now at the same time, coming into this world, we just went through that. What about going out of the world?
Going out of the world?
Yeah, leaving the world.
That is an experience that none of the living can share.
What?
It's you gotta leave your body for that, of course. Now,
Maybe the question is, how do we want to make it? We spoke about it upstairs. We spoke about it. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
if you wanna end your life in a nursery room, a home again in a diaper, sucking on your thumb, much like when you were a few months old.
Yes, exactly.
Or if you want to spend it as that child that is happy about life, that is still enjoying life, that is still agile and is part of life. Life is part
Oh,
of him.
yeah. Yes.
And it reminds me of somebody said, I don't know, that life should be reversed. That when it comes out to an end, we explode like in an orgasm. And I think it should be both. We are coming with an orgasm.
That's true.
Imagine that. We are
bursting into the world.
into the world like with an orgasm.
That's right.
Imagine that.
Literally.
It's like a firework.
That's right.
It's
like,
hey,
yeah!
the patterns that we were talking about? This is no different from the pattern of the universe. This is a supernova. It's an explosion
Bang.
from nothing.
Yeah, it's a big bang.
It's the Big Bang. It's a repeating. Look, the Big Bang had a Big Bang
Yeah,
at some point.
yeah, it's
So
constant. It's really fireworks.
is
The Big
It's just
Bang
fireworks
is
out there.
Continuous Big Bang.
Consistency of life in the universe.
There is a place several places in the universe that are called nurseries, and these are places. They are kind of functioning like a black hole, but in reverse. And this is where a star is born.
That's where they come out.
When a star is born in the universe, it comes from a nursery, something like that. And we are experiencing this constantly also here in our lives, where we are starting in a big bang.
Yeah.
And then there is that 9 months of everything is happening. It's like things are turning together and the cells starting to split and become more. And each cell is becoming
Galaxies,
more
universe,
professional. that professional that it becomes the tip of the finger or the eye
Or the
or
bones
the
or
nose
the
or the
teeth.
bones or the teeth. Yeah, it's like specializing and
Whoa.
specializing, you know?
Yes.
And after 9 months, we come out, we're like ready. We say, okay, I'm ready to take on this explosion of emotions. What you've said, it's the senses are
Senses
like
and-
vibrating, like light and noise and touch and taste and smell.
And sound.
It's all happening. It's all happening. It's all happening.
Well, anyway, guys, I got a job. If that's
So hold on. You saying you have a job? So Jesse, tell us a little bit more about your job.
well, the job. After sitting at home for at least a year, taking naps every day, and getting out of the work mode, all of a sudden I'm now working for Amazon. You guys have all heard of Amazon. In fact, Amazon is in some part of your life at some time in your life. Amazon is there. But usually the job basically is a lot of technical and stuff involved there. You know, this job is to the point where you don't even have to talk to anybody to find out what you need to do. You just scan a barcode or something and it'll direct you to where you need to be working and all this kind of stuff, you know. So
Wow. Sets
which
you
is
up
not-
to be a robot.
just like it. You might as well be.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't have to have any kind of human contact with a manager. And, you know, in the orientation and the new hire video, first of all, the information, the new hire information, I was on my computer for 5.5 hours going through all of this stuff that is required and watching all the videos and stuff like that. That was on the first day. The next day, I had to watch the orientation videos, which took another 3.5 hours of time. Now, the nice thing about this is that they pay you for that, for taking that, for doing that.
Yeah,
You
that's
are
awesome.
paid for doing it, so that's one of the good things about it.
Paid training.
But I'm a guy, you know, 20, 30 minutes on a computer, I'm done.
Yeah.
I you know, that's it. I don't need to know anything else. I got it all, you know what I'm saying? And to be able to sit there for 8 hours, like people do, you know, I mean, there's a lot in there. I mean, there's a lot of information in there. I mean, you know, I guess I have no interest in that information, or only when it comes to mind. Otherwise, it's, you know, it's nothing to me, you know. But learning all the technical tricks of this job, and once you get that part down, then it's relatively regimental, just like a robot.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be doing stuff just like a robot, just going to this area, picking that up, putting it in a bag, you know, scan the bag, close the bag, and put a label on the bag. I mean, all kinds of the same thing over and over and over. Now, I don't mind repetition. You know, the thing is, it's not like automated yet where, well, they do time you from the time you scan this last item to the time you scan the next item, that you're timed in there. That's how they determine if you're, you know, if you want, I don't know, where do you go after you reach the level? Supposedly, you're supposed to pull 100 items an hour. Which I'm nowhere near that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure where you go if you're a 100 item an hour person.
Wow.
Whether that, do you get more money, or you go into management, or I'm not doing it for a career. I'm not doing it out of a career, you know. I want to keep busy.
Yeah.
And then make a little money at the same time, you know. So it's kind of working out in that respect. So, like I say, after not doing anything for a year, and now I'm doing something that is a step forward, you know, to me.
Well, let's say if you had given the choice, you would have chosen to continue doing things with music, with something that
If
is
I had the
attached to
choice. The only downside about the music, especially here in Denver right now, well, it's probably been an issue for a while, is musicians don't get paid what they deserve. I mean, club owners and stuff like that, they don't really care that it takes you 8 hours to do this job and they just want to give you $50. I mean, it's an insult.
Yeah.
But that's the limit that they try to put on people, on musicians. And it's kind of hard to keep musicians together if they're not being rewarded for their
Hard work. It is hard work.
Yeah.
Being in a band, writing the music, basically the entire process of being in a band as a musician it can be a little taxing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously it has its rewards as far as personal satisfaction.
Yeah.
But
Now, do you give that up though?
you know what? I think
Because
you give
it
that
is
up.
personal.
Me, for
You're-
example, I know that I will not be making money. That's why, I mean, another reason why
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not doing this as a whole band, fully committed, blah, blah, blah type deal. I have a side project, but there's no expectations from that. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
high expectations from anyone from that
Mm.
project. It's all it is a tribute band to Fear Factory.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, since the industry has been stomping on musicians and not paying them enough for anything, and
Mhm.
just making life sometimes miserable, I've decided, you know what? I'm gonna get my personal satisfaction regardless.
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure that, like, again, speaking of my album that I want to release, that coming along nicely, that since even if I don't get paid for anything that I do, I'm still gonna get that personal satisfaction because it's gonna be the product of me.
Yes.
It's going to be a legacy, something that I can leave behind.
Yes. Good.
And I think it's important. It's important for a musician, for an artist, to leave their legacy behind, to be able to show it to people much further out in the future. So, yeah, that's my take on that.
See, finding that group of individuals with the same kind of mind is the thing. I really don't care about your talent as much as what kind of person you are. If you are a good person, I really don't care about your talent. As long as you have some, that's okay with me. You don't have to be the best guitar player or the best or anything. But if you are a pretty decent human being that's able to get along with others and don't complain or be that kind of individual, come on in. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you're, like I say, if you miss a part or something like that, because those things can be fixed. You can fix those things. But if a person's an asshole, you got a hell of a job. It's not about fixing the person. Me, myself, I'd never tell a person what to do. I just show them how they can be.
Yeah.
There's another way you can be.
Yeah. You make the choice. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
But
I think it's, when you were speaking about it, I was thinking a lot about me being a parent. And in general, being a parent, right? We want to do the best for our children, and we want to guide them into a direction that we believe is best for them. And yet, we're kind of doing them injustice by not acknowledging that they already know it by themselves. We are just there to help them shape that, or help them make the best of that. Instead of guiding them, let them guide themselves and be a supporting actor in that. Whatever it is that you need to do to support them into becoming what they already know that they came here to do. And that's the thing. It's not so. It's tricky to do that.
Yeah.
Because you need to step away from what you believe is right and wrong, and allow them to express exactly themselves.
And who they are.
Mm-hmm.
It gets it gets them to understand and value what's good and what's right after they've expressed themselves a little bit and learn from their actions by seeing whether it's reactions, if there are any reactions. They learn from that, and they I'm sorry. The dog just licked your beer. But it's okay, he's got to clean up. I feed
For
him
the
really
second
good
time
food.
today.
I feed him really good food.
And then after that, he licked his nuts. But that's okay. Good food.
And some nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts and lipstick. But anyways, yes, you got to give a child that ability to learn, obviously, on their own. And
Now, my thing is, when a child is born, a child, that's who they are. They're who they are from the moment they're born. However, parents are the individuals in that child's life that guides them, even though they're not. I'm not saying taking that person's person from it and then making it your own, but guide them like, don't cross the street when cars are coming. Things like this. Things that could alter their progress to going where they need to be going. Parents are those guys that, not necessarily, like I say, not taking anything away from them, but at the same time, they need to be guided until they can get to where they can guide themselves. They come here with the talent and the knowledge and all that, but their nerves have to be. They have to get to a point in their life to where their mind can tell their hand to do this, when and where. The mechanics of having a body now, those mechanics have to be learned. You're not born running.
Right.
You have to be taught to walk. Someone. That's what
It's actually self-teaching, though. Really, we don't operate the legs of the child. The child
Right, we
knows
don't.
automatically what to do. We are just there to support.
So support, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Support them,
Yeah.
not taking away anything from them,
Yeah.
but support them until they're beyond that point to where they can actually now thrive and be that, let that out.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's actually, if you think about it, the less that we can interfere in their life, the better.
Mm-hmm.
We come already with a set of mind, of belief system. We wanted to speak about belief today. You wanted to speak about belief. We have already a belief system, and we want our child to grow up into expressing that in the best way. So we try to intervene and say, do this, better to do that. Try to shape them. And I understand where it comes
Yeah,
from.
that's right. I was going to
Comes
say
from
that's
a good intention.
That's
But
right.
actually, are we really doing something good here?
Okay, I understand.
If we intervene too much,
Now,
you know?
that you can only see the result of that after the fact.
Yeah.
You don't know that's happening if you are truly detrimental to this growth.
Yeah.
You don't know that until,
Exactly. But then it's too late.
then it's too late.
So what is the missing component here is belief. Trust that the child knows what it's doing and that it would guide itself into the best place that it wants to be, and that our job as parents is to interfere as less as possible and bring the help, support that come out. It's like a tree, you won't go to a tree and try to fix this and that. You let it grow. You just do everything your best not to interfere the natural growth. And
that's brilliant.
yeah, and it takes a lot of trust. That's
does
the thing.
take a
It
lot
takes
of
a
trust.
lot of belief.
Right.
To be in order to put yourself aside to say, okay, I'm going to step back. It takes a lot when you are a
That does take a
parent.
lot when you're a parent. That's
Yeah.
right. Because
That's a
that
true
truly
challenge.
comes. If you can do that as a parent, then you truly trust. You trust in your offspring, and you trust what you have been to your offspring has been absorbed, so he can kind of know that his trust is supported by your trust.
Yeah.
It's a thing like that. Then they can freely and uninhibitedly go and try this new thing, or go and do that without any fear of retaliation or repercussions or anything like that, because you guys are you're not like that.
Yeah.
And that will help in building trust in him as well. So parenting has changed so much since you know what I'm saying, because what was a teaching as when I was a child is now considered criminal. So I can't speak on the modern ways of parenting. All I can relate to you is at one time it wasn't so fortunate. A child that can come up that way has to be the most fortunate individual to ever go into the future, to have parents like that. Nothing. You're at liberty to be. You're free to be, which, most they call them. What do they call those families? All the families. Anyway, the screwed up families, whatever they call it, dysfunctional.
Right.
In my opinion, every family is dysfunctional to a degree. Now, in a situation like that, I can't even see dysfunction ever showing up if it's like that. Dysfunction, it wouldn't be there, because everybody's open.
Yeah.
Old days of parenting, you were restricted. 93% of your existence, you had restrictions.
I mean, even in our generation, we knew restriction quite a lot, and it also depends where you are born.
And it has a lot to do with it.
Yeah,
America
there's
is really the land
cultures.
of the free. It's admirable how people value their freedom here, and I learned to acknowledge that as well. I mean, we grew up in a place that is way more restricted, and then I spent 15 years in Germany, and there's the other side. There's always the beauty, and the wildness or whatever, but there's also that restriction. And restriction it's important, it's not bad. It's important. It's there to funnel you towards something that is considered to be better. Yeah? And I think when we realize that that's only what it means, then we can let go of the control issue that is involved with that, and just allow.
Now, we in Buddhism call it human revolution, to where, instead of there's a revolution out here that causes change, you have a revolution inside yourself which causes change.
Yeah.
And so that particular thing we were just speaking about, human beings have to go through that kind of metamorphosis or something to get out of this old way of trying to rationalize things and put things in perspective, when a lot of times it don't work. Somebody asked the Buddha one time, since we're human and we have to eat, what animal should we kill to eat? And the Buddha told him, you need to kill the will to kill. So that has to be at some generational part or evolutional part of human existence, that is going to have to be eliminated out of the human psyche. That can't be present anymore. To have that desire to actually take another life of any life, we have to we have to evolution to that point,
Yeah.
and in doing so, I believe things like that will be just blossom like mushrooms or flowers or something when you have an existence like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Beautiful.
So we have to go inside ourselves and change all that shit that we've been given. All these decades and hundreds and millenniums and all this shit. We need to revamp that stuff because it's not going to work in the future. It's not.
Beautifully said.
Not sure I'll be here to witness that, but I'm just letting you know.
Well, we can all work very hard towards that day.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice. And you know what's crazy is that Sagy and I always finish an episode about, trying to send out a positive word to people.
Mm-hmm.
So preserve life, care about life. That's what I always like to say, because anything that's living is precious, and it's hard for you sometimes to acknowledge that, even when you, let's say for example, you see like a little ant or a spider on the floor. Sometimes you don't really think about that stuff twice. You're like, done.
Yes, dead.
Right. You took its life.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, it creates a little bit of a guilt trip. It's there. That's because you're still human, and being human is good. And if you feel something, that's a good sign. It means that you do have the capacity and the ability to once more put more of yourself to understand what life is, how precious it is, and one should not be taken away lightly. So, gentlemen, here's to life.
Much joy and peace
Much
to
joy,
you all.
peace to you all. Do you want this in B?
Sure.
It's got 2 holes and better cleavage. I promise you it's better.